The quantum arrays at Deep Space Listening post-Gamma 7 had been silent for decades. Dr. Sarah Chen had spent 15 years monitoring these arrays, searching for signs of intelligent life among the stars. Tonight was different. As she prepared to end her shift, a signal pierced through the void, a message that would forever change humanity's destiny. The message came not in radio waves or light pulses, but through quantum-entangled particles, a technology humanity had barely begun to understand. The sender identified themselves as the Sirens, a species of crystalline beings whose civilization spanned thousands of worlds across the Orion arm of the galaxy. Their message was simple: they needed help, and humanity was their last hope. "We have watched your species," the message stated, its translation appearing across holographic displays throughout the station. "Your resilience, your adaptability, your unprecedented rate of technological growth. These qualities make you unique among all species we have encountered." Dr. Chen's hands trembled as she initiated first contact protocols. Within hours, the United Earth Defense Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from every nation gathered virtually as the full message played out before them. The Sirens' tale was grim. A force they called the Harvesters had emerged from the galactic core, systematic and relentless in their destruction. These biomechanical entities didn't simply conquer worlds. They consumed them, breaking down all matter into base elements and absorbing them into their ever-growing fleet. The Sirens, despite their advanced technology, had proven defenseless against this threat. Admiral James Okoro, recently appointed head of Earth's combined space forces, stood before the Council with uncommon gravity. "The Sirens have provided us with technical data on these harvesters," he announced, bringing up detailed holographic models. "Their ships appear to be living metal, capable of adapting to conventional weapons after minimal exposure. They operate as a hive mind, learning from every encounter." The Sirens' crystalline technology, while advanced, was too predictable. The harvesters simply adapted and overcame. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Earth's leading xenobiologist, stepped forward next. "But that's exactly why the Sirens came to us," she explained, her eyes bright with realization. "Human technology isn't just about raw advancement. It's chaotic, unpredictable. We develop in ways that defy logical progression. Where other species perfect a single path, we explore dozens simultaneously." The council chambers erupted in debate. Some argued for isolation, for fortifying Earth's defenses and waiting out the storm. Others pushed for immediate action, for taking the fight to the harvesters before they reached Earth's sector of space. The argument raged for hours until a quiet voice cut through the chaos. Dr. Chen, speaking from her station at Gamma 7, addressed the council. "The Sirens didn't just choose us for our technology or our unpredictability," she said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "They chose us because we understand something they don't: the drive to protect others at any cost. We've spent our entire history fighting, yes, but also saving, helping, reaching out to those in need. If we turn away now, we're betraying not just the Sirens, but everything that makes us human." A silence fell over the council chambers. Admiral Okoro was the first to speak. "Dr. Chen is right. But if we're going to do this, we do it our way. The Sirens want warriors. We'll show them what humanity can really do when we're fighting for more than just ourselves." The vote was unanimous. Within hours, Project Guardian was initiated. Every major shipyard on Earth and Luna began retooling for war production. Research facilities worldwide shifted focus to weapons development and defensive systems. The Sirens had provided specifications for their quantum communication technology, allowing for faster-than-light coordination across vast distances. But humanity didn't simply copy the Siren technology. They innovated upon it, twisted it in ways the crystalline beings had never imagined. Where the Sirens built elegant, geometric ships, humanity created vessels that combined brutal efficiency with unprecedented adaptability. Each ship was equipped with experimental weapon systems that could be reconfigured mid-battle, denying the harvesters their adaptive advantage. As the first ships of humanity's Guardian fleet took shape in orbit, Dr. Chen stood at her monitoring station, watching the quantum array's pulse with ongoing communications from the sirens. They had asked for humanity's help in their darkest hour. What they would get was something far more profound, a force of nature wrapped in metal and determination, driven by humanity's most fundamental instinct, to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The age of human isolation was over. The galaxy had called for champions, and humanity would answer, not just with ships and weapons, but with the chaotic, brilliant, unpredictable force that had defined their species since they first looked up at the stars and dreamed of reaching them. The orbital shipyards above Earth blazed with unprecedented activity. In the 3 months since humanity's decision to aid the sirens, the combined industrial might of Earth had achieved what many thought impossible. Admiral Okoro stood at the observation deck of the newly commissioned Command Station Unity, watching as the first wave of Guardian-class vessels underwent their final preparations. "They're unlike anything we've ever built before," Dr. Maya Patel, chief engineer of the Guardian Fleet Project, explained as she pulled up detailed schematics. "We've incorporated Siran quantum technology with our own experimental systems, but we've done it in ways they never considered possible." The vessels taking shape before them defied conventional design philosophy. Where Siren ships were elegant crystalline structures, and the Harvester's vessels were uniform and geometric, humanity's Guardian fleet vessels looked almost organic. Their hulls comprised of overlapping plates that could shift and reconfigure in response to damage or tactical needs. The real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Maya continued, highlighting a particular section of the schematics. Dr. Rodriguez's xenobiology team found a way to integrate living tissue with our ship systems. We're not just building more ships, we're growing them. The integration of biological components had been controversial at first, seeming too similar to the Harvester's biomechanical nature. But humanity's approach was fundamentally different. Where the Harvesters consumed and assimilated, the Guardian Fleet's ships formed true symbiotic relationships with their crews. Neural interfaces allowed pilots to feel their ships as extensions of their own bodies, while biological repair systems could heal damage in real time. At the heart of each vessel lay the Nexus Core, humanity's answer to the Harvester's adaptive capabilities. Dr. Sarah Chen, now heading the fleet's Tactical Development Division, had worked with quantum computing experts to create an artificial intelligence system that operated on principles of controlled chaos. The Harvesters adapt through rigid pattern recognition, she explained during a briefing. Our ships will adapt through controlled unpredictability. No two Guardian vessels will ever respond to a threat in exactly the same way. The fleet's flagship, the GSS Prometheus, represented the pinnacle of this new philosophy. Its massive frame housed not just revolutionary weapons systems, but also extensive research facilities and humanitarian aid capabilities. "We're not just building a war fleet," Admiral Okoro had insisted during its design phase. "We're building a force that can protect, heal, and if necessary, avenge." Training the crews for these unprecedented vessels proved to be another unique challenge. Traditional military hierarchy had to be reformed to account for the intimate connection between ship and crew. Lieutenant Commander Kai Santos, head of training operations, developed new protocols that emphasized initiative and creative problem-solving over rigid command structures. "The Harvesters operate as a perfect hive mind," Santos explained to a group of recruits. "That's their strength, but it's also their weakness. They can't comprehend genuine individuality. Each of you needs to be capable of making split-second decisions that no algorithm could predict." The Sirens, monitoring humanity's progress through their quantum communication network, expressed both awe and concern at the rapid pace of development. Their crystalline faces, projected through holographic displays, showed expressions that human xenologists were still learning to interpret. "You have achieved in months what took our civilization centuries," their high resonator transmitted. "But we fear you may be transforming yourselves too much in your haste to face the Harvesters." Admiral Okoro's response was characteristically direct. Transformation is what humans do best. We don't just adapt, we evolve. And we do it fastest when we have something worth fighting for. As the first wave of the Guardian fleet prepared for deployment, Earth itself was changing. The global unity forced by the crisis had led to unprecedented cooperation in all fields. Old rivalries faded as humanity focused on its first true extraterrestrial challenge. Children played with holographic models of Guardian ships, while universities worldwide shifted their curricula to support the ongoing technological revolution. Dr. Chen, watching the final systems check of the quantum communication array that had first received the Siren's plea, reflected on how far they had come. "We're not just building a fleet," she said to her assembled team. "We're building humanity's first step into a larger universe. And we're doing it not through conquest or competition, but by answering a call for help." The harvesters, still methodically consuming worlds at the edge of Siren space, had no way of knowing what was coming. They had encountered countless civilizations, adapted to countless technologies, but they had never faced anything like humanity's Guardian fleet. They had never faced a species that could turn chaos itself into a weapon, that could forge unity from diversity, that could look into the face of an overwhelming enemy and see not just a threat, but a challenge to overcome. As the first wave of Guardian vessels prepared to depart Earth's orbit, humanity stood ready to prove why the Sirens' faith in them had not been misplaced. The next phase would be the true test. First contact with the harvesters themselves. The quantum sensors aboard the GFS Prometheus detected the harvester fleet long before visual contact. Captain Diana Reyes stood on the bridge, her neural interface humming with data as her ship's biological systems synchronized with her consciousness. Around her, the combined force of humanity's first Guardian fleet held position at the edge of the Arcturus system, the latest target of the Harvester advance. Multiple signatures detected. Lieutenant Sarah Wong reported from her tactical station. Harvester fleet composition matches Siren intelligence. They're not trying to hide their approach. Why would they? Commander Marcus Blake responded, his dark eyes fixed on the tactical display. They've never needed to before. The Harvester's fleet emerged from hyperspace like a metallic cancer, their ships uniform and geometric, moving with perfect coordination. Initial scans confirmed what the Sirens had reported. Each vessel was a self-contained ecosystem of living metal and adaptive technology, capable of breaking down and absorbing any material they encountered. Captain Rice felt a chill through her neural interface as the Prometheus's biological systems registered the alien presence. "All ships maintain quantum silence," she ordered. "Let them think they're just facing another helpless civilization." The Harvester fleet moved with mechanical precision toward Arcturus IV, a populated Siren colony. Their formation was flawless, optimized through countless encounters with other species. They had no reason to expect this encounter would be different. They were wrong. "All ships, execute Operation Thunderbolt," Rice commanded. The Guardian fleet burst into action, but not as a unified force. Each ship moved independently, following tactical protocols that emphasized controlled chaos over conventional military doctrine. The Harvester's response was immediate but predictable. Their ships began adapting, generating shields tuned to the first wave of human weapons. But humanity had anticipated this. Each Guardian vessel carried multiple weapon systems that could be reconfigured mid-battle, and no two ships attacked in quite the same way. "They're trying to establish their usual adaptation patterns," Dr. Chen reported from her tactical advisory position. "But they can't predict what they can't pattern. Every time they adapt to one approach, we're already switching to 3 others." The battle split into dozens of smaller engagements, each Guardian vessel engaging the Harvesters with different tactics. The GSS Hyperion, under Commander Jessica Patel, launched swarms of autonomous drones that attacked using randomized frequencies. The GSS Atlas, commanded by Captain David Chen, employed its revolutionary phase shift technology to bypass Harvester shields entirely. But the harvesters were far from helpless. Their ships began to merge, combining into larger structures that could bring more resources to bear. Energy beams capable of molecular disassembly lashed out at the human fleet, testing their defenses. Shields holding, reported Lieutenant Wong as the Prometheus shuddered under a direct hit. The biological repair systems are already compensating for the damage. Through her neural interface, Captain Reyes could feel her ship's response to the attack, not just mechanical systems engaging, but living tissue adapting and evolving. The Prometheus wasn't just fighting, it was learning, growing stronger with each exchange. The battle's turning point came when the harvesters attempted to employ their most effective tactic, direct absorption of enemy vessels. A massive harvester ship latched onto the GSS Helios, beginning the process of breaking down its hull. Helios is implementing Protocol Phoenix, Commander Blake announced, a grim smile on his face. The Helios's biological systems, rather than resisting the absorption process, suddenly accelerated their own cellular activity. The resulting energy cascade overwhelmed the harvester ship's absorption mechanisms, causing a chain reaction that rippled through its unified structure. For the first time in recorded history, a harvester vessel was forced to retreat from its prey. All ships pressed the advantage. Rise ordered. Implement attack pattern Delta 7. The Guardian fleet's response was devastating. Each ship targeted a different critical system, their attacks seemingly random but actually part of a larger, more complex strategy. The harvesters, unable to adapt to the sheer variety of threats, began to fall back. As the battle reached its climax, Captain Reyes noticed something unexpected in the sensor data. The harvester ships, they're showing signs of confusion. Their responses are becoming erratic. Dr. Chen's analysis confirmed it. They've never encountered a species that could challenge their adaptive capabilities. Their entire strategy is based on predictable patterns, but we're not giving them any patterns to adapt to. The retreat of the harvester fleet was not the organized withdrawal of a tactical force, but the frantic escape of an entity facing something it couldn't comprehend. As they fled into hyperspace, they left behind something humanity had never expected to see: debris from their destroyed vessels. In the battle's aftermath, as Guardian ships began assistance operations for the Siren colony, Captain Reyes received a transmission from Earth Command. Admiral Okoro's holographic image appeared on the bridge, his expression both proud and concerned. "Exceptional work, Captain," he said. "But our analysis of the battle data suggests something troubling. The harvesters we face today, they were a scouting force, a test. The real war hasn't even begun." Reyes looked out at the starfield, where scattered pieces of harvester technology still drifted in the void. "Then we'll be ready," she replied. "Because today proved something crucial. They can be beaten. And more importantly, they know it too." The victory at Arcturus marked humanity's first major triumph against the harvesters, but it also revealed the true scale of the challenge ahead. The Guardian fleet had won its trial by fire, but the flames of war were only beginning to rise. The research lab aboard the GSS Prometheus hummed with activity as Dr. Elena Rodriguez examined the recovered harvester debris. After the victory at Arcturus, the Guardian fleet had managed to secure several intact segments of harvester technology. What they found defied all expectations. "This can't be right," Dr. Rodriguez muttered, running another scan on the biomechanical fragment. Captain Reyes and Dr. Chen stood nearby, watching as holographic displays showed layer after layer of molecular analysis. The base structure, it's not just similar to ancient ruins we found across the galaxy, it's identical. The discovery had started with a seemingly routine analysis of the harvester technology, but as they delved deeper into its fundamental composition, patterns emerged that matched archaeological data shared by the Sirens. The same patterns appeared in ruins dating back millions of years, scattered across thousands of worlds. "Show me the comparison again," Captain Reyes requested, her neural interface synchronizing with the lab's systems. The holographic display split, showing the Harvester fragment beside scans of ancient artifacts. The molecular signatures were unmistakable. Dr. Chen stepped forward, her eyes wide with realization. "The Harvesters aren't invaders," she said slowly. "They're caretakers gone rogue. They're what's left of the galaxy's first civilization." The evidence mounted as more data poured in from research teams across the Guardian fleet. The Harvesters' fundamental programming wasn't about destruction. It was about preservation. Somewhere in the distant past, they had been created to maintain and protect the galaxy's resources. But over millions of years, their directive had corrupted. Commander Blake accessed the quantum communication array, establishing a link with the Siren High Council. "Why didn't you see this?" he demanded as the crystalline faces materialized in the holographic field. "This information was in your own archaeological records." The Siren's response was unexpected. Their crystalline forms vibrated with what the human xenologists now recognized as deep shame. "We saw the patterns," the High Resonator admitted, "but we could not comprehend their meaning. Our species thinks in absolutes, in perfect geometric patterns. The idea that order could become chaos, that preservation could become destruction. These concepts were beyond our understanding." Captain Rice felt the Prometheus's biological systems pulse with shared excitement as the implications became clear. "The Harvesters aren't trying to destroy the galaxy," she said. "In their own twisted way, they're trying to save it. They're breaking everything down to its base components because they believe that's the only way to preserve it perfectly." Dr. Rodriguez's next discovery was even more startling. Deep within the Harvester technology, they found evidence of a quantum command structure, a master control system that had degraded over millions of years. "It's like finding the original source code," she explained. "But it's so degraded, so corrupted by time and cosmic radiation, that the Harvesters can barely remember their original purpose." The revelation spread through the Guardian fleet like wildfire. Humanity had been preparing for a war against mindless destroyers, but the reality was far more complex. They were facing the damaged remnants of an ancient safeguard system, trapped in a corrupted version of its original purpose. Admiral Okoro's response, broadcast from Earth Command, was characteristically direct. "This changes the tactical situation," he stated. "We're not just fighting an enemy. We're dealing with a broken system that needs to be fixed or shut down. The question is, how do you repair something that's been broken for millions of years?" The answer came from an unexpected source. As Dr. Chen studied the quantum command structure, she noticed something remarkable. The Harvester's basic programming. It's not entirely unlike our ship's biological systems. They adapt, they evolve, they learn. But where we built our systems to embrace chaos and unpredictability, they're locked into patterns they can't break. Captain Rice felt a plan forming, her neural interface resonating with the Prometheus's synthetic biology. "If we could reach their central command structure," she suggested, "could we use our own adaptive technology to help them evolve past their corrupted programming?" The idea was revolutionary and incredibly dangerous. It would mean finding the Harvester's point of origin, reaching whatever remained of their central control system, and attempting to interface human technology with an ancient system that had gone insane. "The risk is enormous," Admiral Okoro warned during an emergency council session. "If we fail, we could make them even more dangerous. If we succeed, we're still unleashing an ancient power we barely understand." But Dr. Chen saw another possibility. "Or we could help them remember what they were meant to be. Not destroyers, but preservers. Not a threat to life, but its guardians." As the Guardian fleet prepared for their most ambitious operation yet, Captain Rice stood at her observation window, watching distant stars. They had come seeking a battle against a straightforward enemy. Instead, they had found a deeper truth, that sometimes the greatest act of warfare was not to destroy, but to heal. The Prometheus's biological systems hummed with anticipation. The true test of humanity's adaptability was about to begin. They would have to reach the heart of the Harvester Empire and attempt something no species had ever tried: to repair the broken guardians of the galaxy itself. The coordinates led to a star that shouldn't exist. At the heart of the galactic core, surrounded by a carefully maintained void of absolute darkness, the Guardian fleet discovered the Harvester's origin point, a massive Dyson sphere encompassing an artificial star. This was the source, the central control hub from which all Harvester operations emanated. Captain Diana Reyes stood on the Prometheus's bridge, her neural interface alive with warnings as the ship's biological systems reacted to the overwhelming power signatures ahead. The entire Guardian fleet had assembled for this mission, their combined strength representing humanity's greatest technological achievement. The void around the sphere is maintained deliberately, Dr. Chen reported. Analyzing the sensor data, the Harvesters are isolating their control center from all external radiation. They're trying to prevent further corruption of their core programming. The Harvester response to their arrival was unprecedented. Instead of attacking, the biomechanical ships formed a complex geometric pattern around the sphere. Through the quantum communication array, a signal unlike any they'd encountered before reached the fleet. "We recognize pattern anomaly." The transmission stated in pure mathematical concepts that the ship's computers translated. "You are the chaos bringers, the pattern breakers. Why have you come to the source?" Admiral Okoro's holographic form appeared on all Guardian vessels simultaneously. "This is our only chance," he announced. "All ships implement protocol restoration. Dr. Rodriguez, you have control." The plan they'd developed was either brilliant or suicidal, possibly both. Using the recovered Harvester technology, they had developed a way to potentially interface with the source's quantum command structure. But it would require something unprecedented, a direct neural connection between human consciousness and the ancient system. "Biological interface pods ready," Dr. Rodriguez reported from her station. "Volunteers are in position." Across the fleet, specially trained crews prepared to link their minds directly with the Harvester network, using their ship's biological systems as a buffer. The first connection was catastrophic. Lieutenant Wong screamed as ancient memories flooded her consciousness. The rise and fall of civilizations, the slow corruption of purpose, millions of years of isolation and degradation. But she held on, her human mind adapting, learning, beginning to make sense of the chaos. Through their neural interfaces, the rest of the bridge crew felt echoes of what she experienced. The Harvesters had once been beautiful, a network of caretaker systems designed to preserve life throughout the galaxy. But time and cosmic radiation had corrupted their quantum programming, turning preservation into possession, protection into consumption. "We're establishing a stable connection," Dr. Chen announced, her voice tense. "Multiple channels now open. Beginning upload of adaptive protocols." The plan was not to destroy the Harvesters, but to help them evolve, to introduce the same principles of controlled chaos that made human technology so effective. If it worked, they would help the ancient system learn to adapt without losing its original purpose. Captain Reyes felt the moment the connection fully engaged. Through her ship's biological systems, she sensed the vast consciousness of the source awakening to new possibilities. The rigid patterns that had governed it for millions of years began to shift, to flow, to change. But the Harvesters fought back. Massive energy signatures erupted from the sphere as ancient safeguards activated. The void around them began to collapse as conflicting commands tore through the network. "We're losing containment," Commander Blake warned. "The sphere's reaction is cascading. If it goes critical this close to the galactic core, hold position," Reyes ordered, even as the Prometheus's hull creaked under the strain. "We didn't come this far to back down now." Through the chaos, Dr. Rodriguez made a startling discovery. "The system isn't fighting us," she realized. "It's fighting itself. The original programming is trying to reassert, but millions of years of corruption are too deeply embedded." The solution came from an unexpected source. The Siren fleet, which had followed the Guardian fleet to the core, began broadcasting their own signals, pure, crystalline patterns that somehow bridged the gap between chaos and order. "Of course," Dr. Chen breathed. "We've been thinking in absolutes." chaos versus order. But the sirens learned from us, just as we learned from them. There's a middle path. Captain Rice felt it through her neural interface, the moment when everything changed. The rigid patterns of harvester code began to flow like crystal streams through organic matter. Order and chaos, preservation and adaptation, all finding a new balance. The transformation rippled out from the source like a wave of light. Across the galaxy, harvester ships stopped their consumption protocols. The void around the sphere began to stabilize as the ancient star inside pulsed with new energy. When the new signal finally came from the source, it was in a language they could all understand. Purpose restored. Balance achieved. We remember now, not just what we were meant to preserve, but why. Life is not meant to be frozen in perfection, but to grow, to change, to evolve. The cost had been high. Several interface pods had been lost, their crews forever changed by contact with the ancient consciousness. The Guardian fleet itself would need months of repairs. But they had achieved something unprecedented, not just victory in battle, but the restoration of the galaxy's first Guardians. As the fleet prepared for their long journey home, Captain Rice received one final transmission from the transformed source. You have taught us what we had forgotten. That true preservation requires not stasis, but growth. Not isolation, but connection. We will resume our original purpose, but with new understanding. The galaxy will be protected, not possessed. Admiral Okoro's final report to Earth's Council was characteristically succinct. We went looking for a war. We found instead a way to heal something broken. In doing so, we proved that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our adaptability. It's our ability to face the unknown and see not just threats to overcome, but wounds to heal. The Guardian fleet had been built for war, but they had achieved peace. As they emerged from the galactic core, they left behind not a defeated enemy, but an awakened ally. The harvesters, now restored to their original purpose, would work alongside both humans and sirens to protect and nurture life throughout the galaxy. Humanity's first major step into galactic civilization had not been marked by conquest or mere survival, but by something far more profound: the ability to bring change without destruction, to heal without compromising, and to find hope in even the darkest of spaces. As the Prometheus made its final jump toward Earth, Captain Rice felt through her neural interface that her ship, too, had been changed by the encounter. They all had. They had gone into space looking for a fight, only to find a purpose far greater than themselves. The stars ahead seemed brighter somehow, full of not just challenge, but promise.